Viking fans, welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith. It is July 24th, 2018, and we're going to get started on episode 311. It's a sad show today, but before we get into any further, let's introduce all my other bros on this thing. Dorian Foley's got issues today. Not those kind of issues. He doesn't need to see a psychiatrist. He's got some technical difficulties with the audio. I think he can hear us, so he's just going to have to do sign language today, but everyone tell Dorian hi and happy belated birthday. He's 28 years young.
Happy birthday.
What a young guy. I tell you, I feel old.
That right there is Adam Carlson. What's up, sir?
Not too much. Had a rough day, but everything's better when you get some Buffalo Wild Wings. That's the way it works.
Correct. I love wings. And Kyle West, how are you, sir?
I am doing great.
Before we jump into anything else, we got to apologize to everybody.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we did not do a show last week. We actually missed a week.
Yeah, we were running around having difficulty everywhere. I went on a work trip to St. Louis, first time ever in that city. It was very, very great, but kind of busy at night and mostly through the day for the Working Dog Conference. We can talk about that a little later. But, yeah, I was busy. We just couldn't get anything scheduled in hard time, so a little bit of a break, which is unusual for the show, but we're back.
Yep, Dorian wished us a farewell in the text, so he's just going to watch from here on out, but it was nice of him to make an appearance. But still, we have a lot to cover this week because we took the week off, so we got a lot to get into.
All right, let's jump into some quick hits. The Vikings and rookie cornerback Mike Hughes have agreed to a 4-year contract. I know we talked about this a couple shows ago. Nothing was set in stone yet. But they have inked a deal. They came to terms. And I believe, if I saw correctly on social media, he bought his parents a house, which he said was a lifelong goal. Which seems
That's the next quick hit.
There it is. I didn't even look. Purchased his mother a house with his rookie contract. So
he promised his mom that he would. He got it done. And that's not the only thing he signed that week. No. I got some Mike Hughes ink on a Mike Hughes jersey that I now have.
Ooh, you got it with you?
No, I've got it. It's in my room all bagged up, ready for the move.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
I wanted
right.
to see it. You should have brought it out for the podcast.
It's my first signed Vikings jersey, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. That means he's going to be a bust, because that's usually my luck.
God, I hope not. Oh, we've done pretty good. We've done pretty good the last few years. I'm hoping he's not one of those.
No, I'm a big fan of Mike Hughes' tape. Hardworking guy. When I met him, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. One thing, like I've always said this when I talk about meeting some of these players, but you know, you can tell the players that are there for their appearance to make a couple bucks, shake hands, move on. When they take a little while to play with the kids and talk to them and have a good time, that's where it all becomes just so worthwhile. And you can tell that he's a family guy, and to see that working out with the thing that he did with his mom buying a house, it was just pretty cool.
Was anybody actually worried that there was going to be any kind of like a holdout on the contract or anything with Mike?
I was a little concerned because, like I talked
we're
about
getting
before,
down to it.
The Marcus Mariota situation where his signing went a little bit into the training camp, and I don't really think that Mike Hughes can afford to miss training camp time.
Not as a
He needs to get up to speed as fast as possible, especially if he wants to win a starting nickel job.
I was never too concerned about it, but it's always nice to have everyone under contract and ready to go come like right at the start of training camp.
I put this one in just now in the notes while I let you guys throw your 2 cents in, but I want to read this now just because I put it in earlier because it kind of ties together. Mike Hughes is a corner, so obviously we added the secondary and beefed it up. So Pro Football Focus ranked the secondaries. They've been ranking position groups kind of just, I won't say filler content, but just stuff to get by until the season starts, or at least the preseason starts. And 1 to 32, the Vikings landed at number 6, which is very respectable. They listed all the projected starters that they had. Xavier Rhodes at corner, Harrison Smith and Anderson Dejo at safety. Starting corner opposite of Xavier Rhodes is Trey Waynes. And they have Mackenzie Alexander and penciled in at nickel corner, which is pretty much the same lineup that we all predicted.
No.
No? Oh, no. You thought that
Mackenzie's moving outside and Hughes is getting that nickel job.
Oh, okay.
And let's be honest here.
Mackenzie was going to get cut.
Somebody said that. I forget who we were talking about, but I can't believe that was a thing.
Yeah. But let's be honest, when is Andrew Sendejo finally going to get some of the respect he deserves? He's a damn good player. And when Pro Football Focus releases their pieces, and he's higher rated than a lot of the other starters on that defense, it just says a lot about what he can bring to a team. And sure, he's a safety. He's going to miss some plays, but he makes more plays than he misses. That's for darn sure. And Pro Football Focus keeps hammering that home, but people refuse to accept it.
If you guys want to take a guess, they have Harrison Smith at 97.0. You want to tell me what your guesses are from Xavier Rhodes and Andrew Sendejo and the differences between their grades? And just take a shot in the dark for a number for Xavier Rhodes and Andrew Sendejo. Well,
I know Sendejo's around 84.
Close?
I'd say like 87 for Xavier.
That's actually kind of off, man. 80.2 for Xavier Rhodes, 86.8 for safety Andrew Sendejo.
Really?
Talk about underrated. Good. Underrated. They hit on, being led by Harrison Smith. He's the highest graded safety in the NFL last season. Opposite of Xavier Rhodes, they said a lot of question marks. Terrence Newman has been incumbent there, but his play noticeably slipped last year. They also bagged on Trey Waynes a lot. He said he's very inconsistent throughout last year, and most notably, he gave up 116 yards in their championship game loss.
Who didn't suck in that championship game?
That's kind of where I was going to lead up to, is every single person in that game, minus Kyle Rudolph catching a touchdown, was pretty bad.
Dave Collins in the chat says, I hated Andrew Sendejo in 2014. I thought he was the weakest part of our defense, but he's improved so much since then, and he really has. His instincts have gone through the roof, and I still love that he's such a physical player, but he's kind of toned that down a little bit to make sure he makes the play, and that kind of balance is what you want from a safety. You want to be intimidating, yet sure-handed, and he's got that down to a pretty good science.
We've seen the same kind of transition from Xavier Rhodes. If you guys remember the first 2 years, he got a lot of PI calls because he liked to play so physically and aggressively. I know Andrew Sendejo likes to put the big hit, but sometimes he would try to put the big hit out and actually miss an open field tackle. But like Adam just said, he's made a lot of adjustments for the team. God, man, especially last year. Had he not went out in that Saints game, I don't know how we wouldn't have given him the game ball, and I don't know, man. It was crazy. I'd never seen him take his game to that level from the last time that we saw him.
I don't want to put the clutch label on him just yet, but man, he steps up when he can.
Absolutely, especially having to play next to Harrison Smith. You're pretty often overlooked.
The way you can tell how good a player is too is when they're not on the field. If you notice a drop in play, and there's been a couple times that Sendejo has been hurt, that they've had to fill in around him, and you notice there's a drop in play when he's not present. And so he is a grinder. He is tougher than what people give him credit.
I remember when he got his contract and people were talking about overpaying for him, and I don't even think the contract was that much. It was like $4 million a year or something like that.
I don't know what they're paying for him, but he's a bargain.
Whatever it is, they're doing fine. I'm not too worried about that.
Oh, so moving along, trying to get the notes for this up. But I can look at Forbes right here since we have it. The Vikings. I know everybody hears stuff about the Cowboys and how they're worth so much money, but it's pretty cool to see now that the Vikings are valued at more than $2 billion. It's pretty great.
The Wilf family got the Vikings franchise for, $570 million?
Price paid in 2005 was $600 million.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't much.
$600 million revenue too. I'm not sure if this is every year since it's went up, but $392 million. And then it talks about expenses and all that stuff. But man, $2 billion, that's insane. For such a smaller market, this isn't New York, this isn't LA, this isn't Dallas and how big the Cowboys are. So they're number 18 in the NFL team values. So
if there's one thing the Wilf family knows how to do, it's to raise the value of things. They didn't make their money off, the housing for nothing. They know how to make things worth more money. And when they took over this franchise, they saw an opportunity to make a ton of money and have a lot of fun. And I'm glad that they were the ones that got this franchise.
Oh, I'm thankful. Without Mark and Ziggy Wilf, we'd be in Los Angeles right now.
It's a definite possibility.
I know really strongly, without their commitment to keeping this team in Minnesota, any other owner, we'd be the Los Angeles Vikings right now.
Red McCombs was trying to sell us to, what was it, San Antonio?
Yeah, I don't remember. That's been a while ago, but he was terrible for anyone who remembers back that far.
He was after the dollar, the immediate dollar. He didn't care about long-term investments or nothing.
Well, let's talk about investments for a minute, because there was a lot of hoopla whenever the new stadium got proposed and how much money it was going to cost. And now that it's here, have we heard anything negative? Even when we were starting the first season, remember we were talking about, oh, it hurts the environment because these birds are going to fly into it and kill themselves and yada, yada, yada. Now look at all the money that's being made and look how awesome it is. I mean, we just hosted a Super Bowl there. It seems to be an immediate payoff. And I say immediate, within 1 to 2 years.
The big question right now is U.S. Bank Stadium is going to have the Final Four. And the problem is that they have to darken all the glass of U.S. Bank Stadium so that they don't have that glare coming in for the basketball court.
How? They go to Walmart and buy, like, stick-em window tint?
I don't think they're going to go
like window tint, all that shit?
I don't know that they're going to go to Walmart, but that's going to take about a month to do all those correctly. And they're going to have to do it in the summertime because of the harsh winter. So that's going to be a project. But
absolutely. I mean, it's awesome that they can house activities like that. You know, that and Monster Jam and just so many interesting
they just had
things.
X Games there last week.
There's so many awesome things that happen there. The thing is it's not really perfectly suited for everything.
Well, football stadium, first and foremost. That was the important part. Right.
Concerts don't sound great, but Monster Jam seemed pretty cool. Everybody that went to that seemed pretty happy.
I was just happy to see a bunch of the skateboarders that I follow all over social media out because, you know, they're out in the town and then they tag. And then you see them playing actually where the Vikings play, and you're like, man, this is so crazy. This house has so many cool things.
Absolutely. I do want to thank Scott Schwab, Dave Collins, Sergio Moreno for being in chat here with us. We have a couple other people in chat, too, that just aren't being chatty. So that's okay. You can hang out, watch, listen, enjoy. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat over there, and we'll talk about it and have some fun.
Oh, this next one's really interesting. I would never put this out if I was in Adam's position. I'm not saying that Adam did. This is actually from ESPN. But if I was a writer, there's no way I would predict future power rankings. Maybe I would do it after the roster's been made before week 1, after preseason game number 4. But ESPN released future power rankings projection. And this is the kicker. The projection for how good each team is going to be over the next 3 seasons. Now I want you to think back. I just talked about this with someone on the internet not too long ago. I think it was on one of the Viking pages. They're talking about how the schedule seems unfair this year. And so, well, that comes from winning the year before. You know, it's not fair. We have to go to the Eagles and to the Rams and to the Patriots. But let's think about it. That year, that was only, 4 years ago, the first year that Mike Zimmer was here? And we had Matt Castle starting at quarterback at the beginning of the season. Adrian Peterson still hadn't, when the season started, gotten in trouble for what happened before. And we were outside at, TCF?
Yeah.
That was only 3 full seasons ago. That's crazy. And you're going to make a prediction of how good this team's going to be over the next 3 years. So many things could happen between them. But
can't play the AFC South every year.
But they have Minnesota listed at 4th with 84.7 out of 100, which is kind of high if you ask me. I would expect them to be top 10, but I wouldn't go as far as top 5 with just so many things to consider. You know, Aaron Rodgers playing them twice a year. Chicago and Detroit are both trying to get better. The NFC stacked, too.
What's interesting is how they rated these, because they went on drafting skills, coaching, overall team roster, and then they separate it into quarterback. And what dropped the Vikings so much is that their quarterback ranking for the next 3 years, I believe it was 18th, maybe 20th. And if that would have been a higher ranking, then the Vikings would have ended up with a much higher score and may have been 2nd or 3rd. But because the writer of the article does not believe that Kirk Cousins is the answer in Minnesota, that drags that score way down. Because let's be honest, the Vikings' talent outside of quarterback, especially on that defense, amazing. They got talented players at wide receiver. They've got some young players on the offensive line that are doing a pretty solid job. They've got some great tight ends. There's plenty of players there that have enough talent to bring the team to the next level. Rick Spielman's done a great job drafting. He's brought in a lot of great players. Sure, he's missed on a couple, but that's the way it goes with the draft. You're not going to hit on every pick. And coaching, what else can you say about the coaching? Mike Zimmer's done a fantastic job, and I'm waiting to see what John DeFilippo is going to bring to the offense. But for now, I'm thinking that coaching is a really solid place as well. I just wish that more people had a little more faith in Kirk Cousins. I know I'm a little skeptical myself, but I'm not going to put Kirk Cousins as the 20th best quarterback in the NFL.
Hey, I kind of like the fact that Kirk has some, not that he needs extra motivation, probably. I think he's probably pretty motivated as is, but he's got critics to prove wrong. He got a big contract. He got a fully guaranteed contract, and there are still people who are like, I don't know about this guy. And he hears this. He hears this as well, too. So that's good. It's good. That keeps him in check. And, hey, I'm sure he wants to prove all of these people wrong.
Somebody who is not out to prove anybody wrong and already knows he's the greatest? Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, the balls on that guy to say what he said this week. Oh, let's calm down there, Jimmy G. You haven't done anything yet.
What did Vince used to call him, Adam? Grapefruits?
Oh, yeah.
Got the grapefruits? That's Jimmy Garoppolo with the shit that he's saying. Dude, he started, 7 games?
I don't know how many started. His overall...
It's something like 7, isn't it?
He won the last 5 games last year in a row or something like that. His touchdown-interception ratio right now, from what I heard on Levitard earlier today, because they were talking about this, is 7-5. So he has
Jimmy G's never lost a game, though.
Yeah, that'll fade really quick come week 1. That's going to change real fast.
I mean, hey,
God, I can't.
That kid has a hell of a lot of potential.
Yeah, he does. He's got to be feeling good.
He does. He has great potential. We're not knocking him. I'm not saying that he's going to be. I blame Gabbert from whoever was there before. I'm not saying he's like him. He's better.
And his checking account's got to be looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's why he was on the date with who he was on the date with. That's just me, though. Hey, date whoever you want, man. Like, have a good time, but you're not better than Tom Brady. I like that you had that. You had to say that you thought that, but in reality, we all know you're lying. Because if you thought you were better than him, you would have beat him out for the job. But
Ryan Barnum in the chat says beef tips, mushrooms, peppers.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
We were just talking about Kirk Cousins.
He's cooking supper.
I'm going to flip
Ryan's cooking
quick hits real quick. Sports Illustrated's Robert Klemko is not convinced that Kirk Cousins is an upgrade over Case Keenum.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now.
This just in, Robert Klemko is an idiot. So take your hot take right there. No, I'm just kidding.
I like Case Keenum's accuracy. I like his ability to make decisions. I like his elusiveness. Kirk Cousins does have some stuff to prove, but I think he's going to have every opportunity to prove it.
Can we take 2 minutes? I want to throw out the pros and the cons for this one, even though we talked about it a little bit. We know the best that we've seen of Case Keenum because it was with us. Have we seen some dreadful play from Case Keenum? Sure, it was with St. Louis, and let's be real, Jeff Fisher was a lot to blame for there.
Yeah.
Jeff Fisher happened. So I give him total passes on that because Jeff Fisher went down the drain real quick. But I'm also looking at the flip side of Kirk Cousins. Well, he doesn't have a good winning record, blah, blah, blah. Case Keenum didn't throw 25 touchdowns or more 3 years in a row, right? I know a lot of people say, oh, that's fluff, it's padding. It's still by his hand. So
the Redskins were a dumpster fire, too.
They were bad. So it's kind of the opposite in both ends. Like, hey, I get it. If Kirk Cousins was on the Redskins team, I don't think he would have put up numbers like Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins was on his Vikings team last year, which now he is, he's had the best team ever and a fantastic defense. How could you not put up similar, if not equal, I'm predicting better numbers than what Case Keenum did. And when people do that, it's kind of like when we say Joe Montana, I think he's the second best quarterback ever. That doesn't mean he's crap. Just because Tom Brady's a little bit better, that doesn't mean that Case Keenum is garbage. God knows we're
not getting into this argument again because I'm going to say Dan Marino's the best. You're going to say rings. I'm going to say you can't put individual performances on a team. We're going to keep going back and forth on this. There's no winning.
Yeah, no, there's not.
The answer is Dante Culpepper. It's Dante, greatest quarterback of all time.
Adam, I got a question for you. So you're picking Dan Marino on a skill set, and you mentioned that there's no value that you can put on an individual player in a team sport, right? So you're not convinced that Aaron Rodgers is a better talent than Dan Marino?
No, I'm not.
Why did you say that?
Well, Aaron Rodgers still has more to do.
He's still got 5 or 6 good years left too. I wonder how that's going to go.
Let's see him elevate that talent. I mean, the good thing about Aaron Rodgers, and I hate to take this into a Vikings podcast, but Aaron Rodgers is good at elevating the talent around him. You've seen some of the talent that he's had in Green Bay go to other teams and just flop badly. And that's what you can do when you're a good quarterback. You can make those players around you better. But also good quarterbacks are leaders, and I haven't seen a lot of leadership quality from Aaron Rodgers. Dan Marino was a leader. He was a leader and a quarterback, and you notice that every time he took the field.
It's crazy how that always gets brought up, and we never dig into it just there. I want to talk about quarterbacks later. I can do this all day, but I have stuff to ask later. Speaking of Case Keenum, we were just talking about him since I flip-flopped these around. The Minneapolis Miracle put itself back in the spotlight again. We're going to talk about this for decades to come, so don't get tired of it just yet. But it won an ESPY for Best Moment, and it was accepted by Case and Stephon Diggs, which was great, even though Case has moved on to Denver. Stephon Diggs said, and I quote, "If I could leave you with anything, I would say don't stop playing until the clock hits 0. I know that it's crazy, it's cliche, but anything can happen." And that's crazy, too, because you guys remember watching, when there's like 10 seconds left and he's on the side and he's telling everybody, he's like, hey, let's just keep playing. Just keep playing. There's probably some doubt in their minds. I know Everson Griffin had already written the game off as a loss, but that's pretty cool.
I'm going to say most fans probably have, too. At that point, they felt the collapse.
We were in those of us who were in the Discord chat, a lot of us had left, and a lot of people were just like pissed off, and then that play happened, and everyone all of a sudden flooded back into our Discord and was like, what in the hell did you guys see what just happened?
That was pretty good. I remember that day. I'll never forget that day and not being able to speak for about 3 days afterwards. It was pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's shift to the offensive line. It's right up Adam's alley here. Mike Zimmer was on K-Fan, says that Mike Rimmers will, quote-unquote, probably be playing right guard this season. Projected offensive line would be left tackle is Riley Reif, left guard is Nick Eason, Pat Elflein is the center, Mike Rimmers at right guard, and unknown for right tackle.
I've been reading a lot about players working hard to try to win that right tackle job, and I think that's going to be a fun competition to watch.
Bryant McKinney.
One guy that we know won't be at the right tackle position is the recently signed center J.P. Quinn, who signed with the Vikings today. He's likely going to be just a camp body, but like you said, when you bring in talent, you never know. Maybe he'll be able to surprise some folks.
We'll keep you guys up to date throughout. Who's going to training camp, or both of you?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm signed up right now for 4 sessions.
Nice.
But 2 of them are, I can guarantee I'm going to. The other 2, we'll see.
How far is that for you now?
Well, considering I'm moving out, I'm hoping to move out to Oakdale a little bit later this month, maybe at the end of the month. Right now, it's about 6 miles from my apartment, but it'll probably be about a half an hour.
Oof, okay. Not bad at all, man.
No.
I'm living vicariously through you when that happens. Kyle, are you going to make it out there?
I don't know yet. I was talking with my friend Mike that I usually go with, and we're thinking of maybe switching it up a little bit this year. We're talking about saving some money now to go to some actual football games later
there
on
you go.
once the season starts. Because usually we go up and, by the time we spend money for hotel rooms and eating out and jerseys and 3 days worth of camp, it's like we could have went to a game or something. And so I don't know. I think we're gonna mix it up a little bit this year. But we haven't decided fully what we're gonna do yet.
As soon as I can confirm I'm staying in the area here, I know that I want to hit up that Bills game. That Bills game is the one I've got circled on my calendar.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Because that's the Denny Green Ring of Honor game.
Oh, that's great.
That'll be cool. That'll be fun.
That'll be really fun. Chat's going a little crazy. Oh, they're talking in there about Bud Grant's son passing away, which was definitely sad.
Yeah, it's going to be a sad second half of the show. I didn't know that. Thanks, Ying Yaj, for putting that out there for us. The last quick game we have is about running back Dalvin Cook. He was named the NFC North Rising Star by ESPN. Man, I'm excited to see this kid come back. Oof. Him and Latavius are going to be a great 1-2 punch.
Now, did you see who was calling him one of the rising stars?
I did not.
Tim Tebow. I have no idea.
LaDainian Tomlinson said that he expects a big season from Dalvin Cook this year.
Ooh, man. I'm sure he enjoyed hearing that from one of the greats.
Wasn't LT almost a Viking at one point?
Very close.
Yeah, that would have been fun to see.
Oh, God. Let's not talk about that. Think about all these players that we could have had, especially like recent memory. Good Lord.
Oh, absolutely.
Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt. Good Lord.
Scott Schwab says, wish I could do a training camp or preseason, but it's thousands of months to travel for me. Oh, yeah. All right.
Didn't want to come into this dragging along, but here we are. So today's topic, if you guys didn't hear us, I think I said it earlier, but I didn't name the show title. We were jumping around, but you guys will see it out there. It's Remembering Tony. Unfortunately, we're going to talk about the sudden and recent passing of Tony Sperano, the offensive line coach for the Vikings. He passed away at the age of 56 in Eden Prairie on July 22nd, so 2 days ago. I've got his Wikipedia page up here, and it says, on July 19th, he was hospitalized in Eden Prairie, suffering from chest pains. He was released the following day, died 2 days later at 56. There was an autopsy, and it was confirmed that Sperano died of arteriosclerotic heart disease. So it's a sad, sad day. We'll go over his career and his highlights, but most of all, feel for his family, man. 56 is not an old age by any means. My parents are there, and it's kind of scary to kind of put it in perspective. But nothing but warm and nice things said by everybody around the Vikings about this guy.
Oh, absolutely. Tony Sperano, such an offensive mind. I remember when he was with the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, let's be honest, they were bad. The only real talent they had was they had a mobile quarterback and some running backs that just could throw the ball a little bit and were good at play action. So what does he do? He brings out the Wildcat from college, and that revolutionized the sport for about 2 years. Oh, everyone was trying to copy the Wildcat.
Yeah, that was Ricky Williams on that Miami team, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
That they were running the Wildcat with. I think that was
and White,
Ricky.
yeah.
Yeah, yep. And you're right. That was against the New England Patriots.
It was.
And that game.
The Patriots had no answer for it.
They had absolutely no answer for it. And it looked like the Wildcat was just going to absolutely turn the league upside down. And for a little bit, it kind of did. And you still see it have some, it's still effective in small doses a little bit.
It really is.
Correctly.
Now, speaking of him in Miami, he went 11-5 in his first year in coaching. He still holds an NFL record, and I don't know that anybody's going to top that. 11 wins is kind of hard to come by anyway. But the Miami Dolphins were 1-15 the year prior, so he's the only coach in history to do that. And Lady Luck was on his side a little bit. I won't take anything away from him, but that is the year that Tom Brady tore his ACL because they were running the AFC East for a while. But like Adam and everyone was saying, the league didn't know what to do. With all the trickery that comes with the Wildcat. So that was pretty sweet. He got another
I really
chance.
wanted to see what him and John DeFilippo could come up with together.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that would be so much fun. You'd have these extra tight end sets. You'd have misdirection in the backfield. You'd have rubs from the receivers going. It was going to be – it could have been so magical. I mean, maybe some of this is still already in place. Maybe they've already talked and designed a lot of plays that they were going to be running this year. But right now, there's no real way of knowing who's going to take over that offensive line coach position. And this is a bad time to be trying to fill a spot on a team's coaching roster. But really, when you're stuck with a shock like this, the last thing that goes through your mind is, boy, we need a new coach. It's his family. It's the loss for the franchise. It's the absolute shock for this person that spent so much time with you and your team trying to build everything up. It's just so heartbreaking.
He didn't have much success minus the 08 season in Miami as a head coach. 7-9, 7-9, 4-9. He got fired. Then 2014, he had a stint with the Raiders, 3-9. But looking at the coaching tree, let's talk about putting the pieces together. you got to love football. Kind of like, I guess I'm thinking Norv Turner as well, because he had a head coaching stint that wasn't that great, but you just got to love football to stay in it, even after having that head coaching gig. So there are head coaches under Tony Sperano. They have a whole list here. Mike Zimmer used to work with them. Jim Tomsula, Dennis Allen, Rex Ryan, Wade Phillips, Bill Parcells, Tom Coughlin, Marty Schottenheimer, Chris Palmer. Assistants who have become NCAA or NFL head coaches, Paul Pasqualoni, John Bonamigo, and Todd Bowles is the most recent one. He's got a long list here. It starts in New Haven. He was born in Connecticut, Boston University, and then the NFL, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams that he's played, or I'm sorry, worked for. So his imprint is everywhere. He just loved the game. It's crazy how long you can stay in there, too. And he started back in 1984 with New Haven, and he was all the way up to 2018. Cool little thing to put together here. He has something that one of my favorite singers has. It's not from North Carolina. I love country music. I like Eric Church. He's a North Carolina guy. Tony Sperano and him share the same kind of medical condition. Known for wearing sunglasses, even during instances of relatively low lighting and indoors, suffered while working at a fast food restaurant. So always trying to have the glasses on. Everybody's like, man, you're trying to be a cool guy. But no, that became kind of a trademark for him as well.
Yeah,
one thing that I thought that was always pretty cool about Sperano.
I wanted that for him. It's been going around a little bit on social media where people were saying that like the first Vikings game, they're probably going to honor him. And so all the fans ought to bring sunglasses during the tribute.
That'd
Tony
be cool.
Sperano.
That would be dope.
And like if you could get like the whole stadium to put sunglasses on, like I think that would be really super awesome and just like a fun way to pay tribute to him. Because he did make it cool. I honestly didn't know that he had like a medical eye condition or whatever to go with it too. But I don't know. He made wearing sunglasses all the time awesome as well. So.
Now, when Sperano was in Dallas, he was with Mike Zimmer on that coaching staff. And you know that you're a good, hardworking coach if you can impress Mike Zimmer enough to say, I want that guy working on my team. Because let's be honest, Mike Zimmer, he ain't the easiest to work for. He's a hard-nosed guy. He doesn't give respect very often. But you could tell even from some of the statements that were given from him and everybody really around the NFL that he was well-respected and really did a good job when he put his heart into it. One thing that really impressed me was social media. There's usually trolls everywhere. If you go on NFL.com, ESPN, Star Tribune, Viking Age, wherever, and people are talking about this shocking loss for the franchise. It's really an outpouring of support and respect. There aren't a lot of trolls that are just being complete horses' butts on posts. It's really just a lot of love and respect, and that to me was really cool to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of hope. We've talked about that before. How I've said it many times to my friends around. Social media has just become a trash can of armchair tough guys. But I like that, man. I haven't seen too many bad things, and it's good to hear that you're seeing the same stuff. That there's not a bunch of people being, jerks about it. Like, the playoff game that we won, and then Millie, people were being such jerks about Millie. And
the first comment on there was, "I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm so sorry for you guys' loss and everything." It's like, that's awesome. Because it's not just the Vikings who had a big loss here. It's so many teams are in the league, and somebody that influenced pretty much every franchise in the league.
It was great, too. I forget who I was listening to. I know it was in the truck the other day driving around. But you remember Jake Long, the tackle?
Oh, yeah.
So I guess I'm looking at the timeline here. Miami Dolphins 08 to 11 head coach. So he actually drafted Jake Long. And he said, what was great? He believed in me the first day that I met him, and he drafted me. And didn't he get a shot with us last year? Isn't that who we came in for off the street? The year before? So,
I think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, not last year. The year before when we had Alex Boone and all those guys. So he said, he was the first one to believe in me, and he was the last one to believe in me in my NFL career. And he gave a great outpour of, hey, this guy, he's a great person, father, husband, all that good stuff. But he's like, I never thought that somebody else would call me. And there he was calling me saying, hey, man, why don't you come play for us and see if you got anything left in the tank. I thought that was really special. And that comes from a first-round pick that he himself picked out. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, real cool.
We should start that, man. I say we start that and send it to the Vikings and start posting it and all the things. Like, just wear sunglasses on the first home game, and they should do a tribute to him. We should start that if nobody else has.
Or maybe hold off till the Miami game.
That, too. That would be sweet.
Well, he's got a son who coaches for Jacksonville. I think that's what Paul Allen said this morning on KFan. And the Vikings have a scrimmage against Jacksonville coming up during
They got a preseason game, yeah.
And so Paul Allen was kind of spitballing that maybe the Vikings will do some kind of tribute then, since he will probably have, family up for that. I know that's not regular season, but
I'd like to see him wait till Miami.
We should start it. You guys, let's start that. Let's make that a thing. That would be really cool. All right, we got dead space. Let's talk about something else. We didn't have a social media question.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. All right, let's do it.
I assumed Mr. Smith or West would have this ready.
No, I didn't have it. I didn't.
So now I gotta
don't
pull it on up. So if you guys could sing a song or something that isn't, copyrighted.
Mr. Smith, that is your territory. Improv.
Well,
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Sorry to tell you guys, but all the songs that I sing are copyrighted because I don't have that much talent.
You don't write?
Because I got to scroll through 2 weeks
music?
of posts here on the podcast page to get to it.
No, I don't have any. I have one that I wrote about a year ago when I was going to have a son. So, yeah, I don't remember that one off the top of my head.
All right, so July 12th, we asked you guys, will Kyle Rudolph have over or under 7 touchdowns this season? Kyle, tell us why in the comments below.
Oh, wow.
All right, so what we've got here is Craig Morley saying over. It's like throwing to a mattress, remember?
That's awesome.
I like that.
Brent Foster says over. Cousins' weakness is the red zone, but it's Rudolph's strength. You can believe that Flip has both of them working on that like crazy. Dave Hickey says over. I say 9, but Dalvin Cook will lead the team with 12. Nicole Wara says under. He's getting older. And Darren Roach says 11.
It's an interesting take, Nicole. Way to go against the grain on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly hope you're wrong, but it's a good take.
I mean, it'd be great if Minnesota could use their running backs. Like, Latavius Murray is going to get a lot of goal line work.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen. He's going to poach a lot of touchdowns from Dalvin Cook. It's just the way it's going to happen. And we won't see as many touchdowns in the red zone, I think, as we're going to see rushing in a lot of situations. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think that Cousins is going to toss a solid number of touchdowns to Kyle Rudolph. I'm thinking that it's going to be a decent number. When I did my fantasy football projection for Kyle Rudolph, I said that he's going to break a lot of his projections, especially if he can stay healthy, which I think he will. Of course, you can't always project fantasy football numbers to go based off injuries because that would just be ridiculous. But I think that he's a solid pick in fantasy. I think he's a solid tight end in the red zone. And I think that the Vikings went out and they got Tyler Conklin. They've got David Morgan. They've got the tight ends to run some pretty cool sets to really mess with opposing defenses. So I think this could be a really good year for Kyle Rudolph. His potential's through the roof.
Yeah, I got to think about what DeFilippo was saying going in. They're not going to try to change a lot of stuff from last year. Kyle Rudolph had a great season last year. But talking about, especially in the comments there, had a lot of struggles in Washington. I know this is a different team, different city, all that good stuff with the red zone. But
red zone and third downs, those are the struggles.
That's where we've got to get better. And, he was very comfortable using 2 tight end sets, if I remember correctly, for Washington.
But Washington also had horrible wide receivers, a terrible offensive line. So,
yeah, Cousins has got a lot of upgrades coming in to make life a little easier for him. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be interesting to see because we have a lot of. And don't sleep on David Morgan, people. He is awesome. I know we're talking about Kyle Rudolph, but don't sleep on David Morgan either.
It's absolutely true. You guys know I'm a big fan.
Well, I just like I think it came against Washington last year when he got his first touchdown. Nice little Gronk-like spike too.
Oh yeah,
he was pretty open in the end zone. Not thinking about him when you're thinking about red zone targets, but that was pretty sweet.
See, that's the kind of misdirection confusion that's going to happen because you've got to stay tight on Thielen because he can catch small window passes. Stephon Diggs, if he catches the ball short, he can break free so easy. Kyle Rudolph, such a big catch radius, you got to stay tight on him. It leaves situations where David Morgan's going to be up against a linebacker or something like that, or a safety, and he's going to be able to take advantage of that mismatch. So I said that it's going to be over. Did you guys give your answers?
No, I think it's going to be over. I think it'll be one over just because we're going to spread the ball around a lot. I forget who said in the comments, but Dalvin Cook's coming back. You said Latavius Murray's going to get a lot of looks at the goal line. He's got a plethora of targets to throw to, but when you need that safety netting and what we call the security blanket, he's the go-to guy. Kyle Rudolph, I know there's about 2 years ago, there's a lot of question marks around him to say, question his toughness. He runs out of bounds, doesn't plow through people. But I think he shut a lot of people up last year, and I think he's more than capable. So, and
if you take a look at what Kirk Cousins accomplished with Jordan Reed while he was in Washington,
kind
you
of
got to be
optimistic. I was
optimistic.
about to go, 25 touchdowns 3 years in a row. If he's going to be throwing that many in Minnesota, which I hope he does or more, there's a good chance those numbers that we're talking about go over.
And it'd be fun to see Rudolph, Diggs, and Thielen all bust 1,000 yards. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be insane.
Which one of us lives in the ghetto? I've heard like 3 fucking police cars go
I'm right on the freeway here. I've got the window open, so don't mind that.
Jesus, Adam, where do you live?
Right on the freeway, right on 35 here.
Well, that'll do it. I'm gonna say under, only because I think that the ball is gonna get spread around, and I think that we have other skill position players who are gonna make more explosive plays before the Vikings get into quote the red zone. So I don't think that they're gonna have as many opportunities. Which this might be a good thing here, that we have to try to score with just Kyle Rudolph. Like I think that we've got other players who will make bigger plays for the Vikings this season.
Michael Cambria makes a good point in the chat. He says Latavius may be stronger than last year coming off that foot injury. And you could tell that foot was bothering him throughout the season. And if he's a little bit closer to feeling 100%, that could be a big difference maker. And also, you've got Daniel Carlson coming in, the rookie kicker, who is deadly accurate from short range. So there won't be a whole lot of question as to, do we have to gamble here or do we take 3? If it's take 3, it's going to be pretty automatic.
We hope.
You know who else was a stud for us with that last name under the radar? John. I'm hoping the Carlson trend continues.
Hey, I got my John Carlson jersey. I've worn it to games.
You're going to have to get another one now.
I wore it to a game where he scored a touchdown. It was great.
Oh, my brother called yesterday. I wanted to talk about this too. So, for whatever reason, my family is not traditional, and it's kind of, I won't say embarrassing for football, but it left question marks. We all like different teams in the house. I don't know why. I'm going to blame it on the Panthers not being around when we were growing up. That's my excuse. My brother likes the Chargers. He's a Carolina fan, so he likes Phillip Rivers, an old NC State guy, right? So he goes, hey, man, did you guys cut Kai Forbath yet? I said, no. Why are you asking? He's like, well, we were 9-7, and we would have been 11-5, and a lot of people are high on us because of our kicker. And I said, oh, man, I started talking about Daniel Carlson yesterday because when you draft a kicker in the 5th round, that's going to be who you're keeping. We're not keeping 2 kickers. I don't think so. And have you guys heard any buzz about him going around? Because the last I heard, his accuracy and his distance is more and greater than what Kai's been doing throughout OTA.
All that I've heard Mike Zimmer really say is that he's been doing well, but it's easy to make kicks when there's no pressure, and that he's really looking forward to preseason to evaluate the kickers, camp and preseason, because that's when there's crowd and atmosphere and you got players actually coming at you full speed. I mean, I've seen Blair a billion times in training camp. He's made some of the longest field goals I've ever seen when there was no one rushing him.
Yep.
Okay.
Or
so
the game being on the line.
Yeah, it's going to come down to how this kid can handle a live game environment, and you don't know that in what month are we? July?
I think that's why they're hanging on to Kai Forbath right now, so they want to see how he plays in the preseason. If he gets a little itchy, what happens there. But if you want a kicker that's going to boom that football through the back of the end zone on kickoffs pretty much every time, he's your man. Goodness gracious.
I figured he'd have a longer distance since he's younger. He's probably a little bit more powerful, but Kai hasn't been bad. Kai's been very serviceable, and
Kai's only like 29, ain't he?
I don't know. Is he? God, he looks 40.
I don't think he's that old.
Can we ask that? Is it the receding hairline or is it just his old man face? Because he definitely looks 40 years old.
Hey, he's 30 years old.
God Almighty, we're the same age. Kai, what are you?
And he looks like a Bond villain. He does.
Oh, I feel like such a jerk right now. I don't hate you, Kai Forbath.
I've met him. He's a real cool guy. I think he had a Led Zeppelin shirt on when he was signing autographs, which was pretty cool.
He looks 40 years old. You guys look him up right now. On Google
he does
search.
look about 43.
Oh,
yeah.
How? Your life's not that hard. You're just a kicker.
Being a kicker can be stressful.
Dear God.
Yeah, ask Blair Walsh.
Well,
I think Blair Walsh is unemployed. Tell your Panther fan friend. There you go.
Yeah, he's not going to take Blair Walsh. They're not going to take him. I think he ran his way out of Seattle, too, like just because he was so bad. God, what a nosedive he did.
It's crazy how just a little bit of a shake of confidence can screw with a kicker's head so bad.
Meanwhile, Matt Khalil sucks, and he's one of the highest paid offensive linemen. The Panthers threw a semi-truck full of money at him, and he is awful.
And they went and got Charles Johnson, too, and that didn't pan out worth anything.
They got Jarius right. I'm pretty sad about that. They got Captain and Jarius. I'm pretty upset about that.
Captain, I still feel that one a bit.
Yeah, he was great. When he finally stopped being selfish, he was pretty damn good. Some
problems with those older players, though, especially ones that have been in the league, those veterans, is they become so set in their ways. And the Zimmer defense, you've got to be open and willing to do different things. And you've got to follow what the game plan dictates. Because if you do your own thing, you're going to be screwing over everybody.
Can you imagine that after that first season and still getting your job and be like, I had the balls to think that I was smarter than Mike Zimmer?
Right?
I saw a meme recently. It was like that. It was like somebody made fun of me for putting on sunscreen. I'm like, could you imagine thinking you're tougher than the sun? The sun?
Right?
That's what it made me think of. But it's going to be good. God, when does everything start? What are the dates coming up?
We're coming up soon.
Scott Schwab was talking about Daniel Carlson in the chat, saying he played at Auburn in some huge games in front of a lot of peers. And let's be honest, Auburn played some big games.
Yeah, anytime you're playing in the SEC, you're going to be playing. It's going to be nationally televised. It's going to be scrutinized, and a lot of people are going to be watching.
And Carlson's misses, two of them were I think he had 4 misses, and 2 of them were blocked, and the other 2 were from beyond 50.
That's not terrible.
You can put a bow on it however you want. You can say, oh, well, this was his kick-made record, whatever, and then you can look at it the other way and say, well, now I kind of understand why those numbers are the way they are.
All right, what are we going to slide into now? We're almost done with the show. I don't really have much else. Well, I was asking, what are the dates for training camp? Is it next week or is it this week?
Training camp on the first day of training camp, and the veterans were going to report on Friday, was canceled so that the Vikings players, coaches, and staff can go attend the memorial services.
Classy move.
So that's going to go on hold, and then I believe that the next practice, I can pull it up in a moment.
I'm pulling it up now.
Okay.
That's really good, though. I love this team, man. The final day of practice, open to the public. Okay, that's not going to help me much. Here we go. 2018, 12 things to know about Vikings training camp. Let's get these dates in while you guys can filler for me for a second.
Yes, Saturday is when practice will resume. It'll be the first full team session in Eagan, which is really cool. I like the new facility. I haven't been down on the practice field yet, but I've gotten darn close. But I've gone inside the indoor practice facility, and I've gotten some of the video in there, which if you guys follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you've seen me post some of the pictures and video from when Kyle Rudolph was holding his camp for kids in there, and that was a lot of fun and a lot of cool to see.
All right, I got some information for anybody that wants to know. So rookies were supposed to report today for the first time. Practice will be tomorrow. Veterans report Friday. Obviously, we were told that's pushed away and postponed. Not sure what the date will be for that to make up, but practice for the first time will be on Saturday. This Saturday, July 28th. First fully padded practice is scheduled for this coming Monday, July 30th. The night practice is Saturday, August 4th, so next Saturday, not this coming. The ticket process, since it's going to be ticketed, daily fan attendance is capped at 5,000 for each of the 18 days that are scheduled to be open for the public. These tickets must be reserved in advance. There are 4,000 that will be free general admission tickets available and 1,000 reserved seats. So if you want to get there early and they'll be free. The 1,000 reserved seats, the quick trip red zone each day, seats are $20 each and $25 a piece when the Vikings host the Jaguar on joint practices for August 15th and 16th. So still pretty affordable, not too bad, but you can get free if you're one of the first 4,000 people there.
Yeah, parking is $10 if you want to park and then take the shuttle. Otherwise, you can have your rideshare service drop you off right at the gate, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But there are also quite a few dates that have been sold out already for training camp just because of the popularity of each of the days and the joint practices. So if you are really set on seeing a certain practice or a certain night, make sure that you get in there as soon as possible because there are a lot of dates that are not available right now.
I've only been to Minnesota twice, once in the summer and once in the winter, so I don't know how the weather is for the summertime. It was perfect outside, didn't have anything crazy, but it says Vikings will refund any reserved seats and parking purchased on days when practice is canceled or moved inside due to weather. Unfortunately, there are no makeup dates available due to expected sellouts. So
yeah, the sold out days are July 28th, 29th, August 3rd, 4th, 8th, 15th, and 16th. So yeah, those days are flying by. The general admission usually go pretty fast. If you want to be under the canopy in the stands, that's where I've got to be because my skin is not very receptive to sunlight. It's not friendly. So I need a little bit of shade. So I'll throw down the extra money to get some shade.
The last thing that I'll throw out for anyone else, we can jump off this training camp bandwagon, is the policy for autographs and frequently asked questions. Players are scheduled to sign autographs among their position groups. The daily autograph schedule is on Vikings.com. If you go to Google, type in Vikings Training Camp 2018, just look for the very first link at the top from Vikings.com. Scroll through. It's 12 things to know about training camp, and also below number 12 is a list of frequently asked questions, and you'll see the hyperlink there. So anything you need to know is available on Vikings.com. But if you guys get to make it out there, that would be great. And like we always say, if you're going to a game, if you're going to a practice, whatever, and you want to link up with us, shoot the page a message, take a picture. If you meet us there, Adam or Kyle there, I won't be there, unfortunately. If you meet up with anyone, take photos. We'll post them to the page. And if you go and you don't happen to run into Adam or Kyle, send us pictures anyways. We'll post them on your behalf. We'll tell them to get credit. Tell us how it was.
Right now, I'm planning on being there August 3rd and 4th for the defensive end autographs and the night practice, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Very awesome.
Those night practices are always great. And then I'll be there on August 8th to see the wide receivers in action for signing autographs, which I still have yet to get either of those guys on a jersey, the two major stars. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I'll be there on August 13th for the safeties, where I need to get that Harrison Smith ink. I don't have any, and I want it.
I'm super jealous that you get to do that.
So if you're going to be there any of those days, hit up the page. We'll make something happen.
Let us know if you guys link up. Like I said, message the page, and we'll try to get that posted. And like I said, if you don't happen to meet up or your schedules don't line up, send us photos anyways. We just want to put it out there, and we'll give you credit for your picture, and you can tell us how it was, just so we can get some more content, and we can spread the love around for the Purple People podcast listeners. So let us know.
Ryan Barham in the chat says, I thought you had to reserve them only before you go. And I highly recommend that you reserve them anyway, even if you can't go. That way, if something pops up and you won't be able to go to training camp, your tickets can be easily transferred to another person. The problem is that each Vikings account can only handle 2 tickets to training camp. So if you want to go for extra sessions, you'll have to have a friend buy 2 tickets and go on their account. So you're going to have to kind of daisy chain this thing if you want to go to multiple sessions. So hopefully you have a lot of friends.
That would be nice.
No, or a lot of email accounts.
That's funny, man. Well, I don't have anything else, man. Do you guys have anything else you want to plug? I think that's it for the notes and everything.
Over on the Viking Age, we're doing a lot of cool things with training camp previews. Chris Schad, one of our new writers over there, has been doing positional breakdowns heading into training camp, which is really exciting. He's such a good ad for the team, and we really appreciate everything he's doing there. He's got a really insightful mind for a lot of these players and their positions and how they're going to fit in and how things are going to go forward. So I highly recommend those as a read. If you're into fantasy football, I've been doing my forecast of how each player is going to perform, when you should draft them, how many points they're probably going to get you. And yes, I'm a fantasy football nerd. I'm sorry, but hey, it's right here. And fantasy football always wins me money, so I can't complain too much.
I love fantasy football too, man. 2 out of the last 3 years, much like the Vikings, I have won my leagues last year and then 2 years prior. So I love fantasy football so much, especially if you know what you're doing or at least have a sort of a grasp on what you're doing. So I'm ready for that to kick up. I'm really excited for what we do here too at the Purple People Podcast. We have a league going on, not an actual fantasy league, but Adam can tell you more about that. It's super fun, and we're going to start it here probably like a month or so you guys can get ready. We're putting the word out now.
Absolutely. That survival league, we usually get that going about 2 weeks before the regular season kicks off and try to fill it up with as many people as possible. We usually put together a really nice prize package and end up with a little bit too much nice stuff because I get yelled at by my co-hosts saying you're giving away too much nice stuff and they want me to send it to them. It's just a mess, I tell you, an absolute mess. But it's a lot of fun, too. What it is, it's more like a survival league where you choose one team or 2 teams each week, usually one at the beginning of the season, that you guarantee is going to win. But if you can't pick that team again throughout the rest of the game, so you kind of got to gamble a little bit. You got to look and say, okay, do I really think the Jets are going to beat the Browns, or should I take the Patriots to beat the Panthers, which I feel a little bit better about? It's a hard decision to make, and it makes for a lot of fun. It's a 3-strike league. I think last year we did 2, right? Was last year 2 strikes?
I think so.
I did not participate.
No, last year was 3 strikes, but we added the 2 teams later on. That's what we did, just to make it go all season, which is pretty cool. We always love doing stuff like that, though, and we appreciate all you guys that come here, hang out, visit the Facebook page, comment, share, like, review, everything. It's just so great to have so many people that are listening, even during the off season when there's not so much going on.
It's just another cool thing we like to do for y'all because this page has grown so much over the last 4 years, and now we're doing live, pretty much broadcasting thanks to you guys. We have people joining every week. We have the faithfuls that join every week. But if you want me to boil it down into layman's, or like my southern ass likes to put, if you want free shit, listen to the Purple People Podcast, and we'll get you some free shit if you win. So,
hey, we tried to give stuff away for our 300th episode, but we had no takers.
I'm telling you, Adam's awesome about that stuff, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not spoiling any secrets because it's, not fair, but it was legitimate when he said earlier that I was like, man, if you guys don't want to send all that and you want to mail it to my house, like, I like collecting Viking gear. I don't have a big opportunity or as much as opportunities as they do because they live closer to Minnesota. And I was like, hey, man, if you want to send that my way, I think that prize package is good enough. And we all agreed, no, we're going to send it to the winner. So it's pretty cool.
I liked when I had the package together and I'm like, you know what? I just ordered a jersey on eBay. I'm going to throw in that too. And you guys are like, what?
Yep. And it's all free fitty. All you got to do is win the survival league. So
that's all you got to do.
We'll set that up. I forget when the first game is. Isn't it like September 9th or 11th?
I don't know, but isn't the Hall of Fame game coming up real soon?
Really, really soon. Next week, I believe.
That's exciting.
It is.
Real Purple and Gold Minnesota Vikings in the chat. I've never that's a new one for me. I don't know if they've been here before, but they said, I've just recently seen Mike Hughes here twice in Los Angeles. Nice guy, and yeah, he really is.
That's pretty sweet. Is. That's awesome that you got to meet him.
But that's all I have for this week. I do want to say that if you're in Minnesota on the 1st, Mike Zimmer will be down at Chick-fil-A signing autographs. So head on down to Chick-fil-A in Apple Valley. Get yourself some Mike Zimmer ink and get to meet the coach himself. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be great.
Good old Mike Zimmer and Chick-fil-A. Since Taco Bell isn't giving us any money, Chick-fil-A.
By the way, if you guys didn't see online this past week, if you have a child in Chick-fil-A, they may sponsor them for life. I know a baby was born in one of the bathrooms there, which is weird in itself, but they get free chicken nuggets for life. So just if you want to readjust your birthing plans, it'll pay off in the end. The more you know. There's your
I hadn't heard of that. That's a new one by me.
There's your fun and random fact for the day. Actually, I'll figure that out for you. I'll let Adam do the outros. And
I do want to thank everyone for tuning in, joining us in the chat, hanging out. It's so much fun to have you guys here and interacting with us. I love it so much. And I know that the rest of the guys on the show enjoy it too. Hopefully we can have Dorian Foley back next week. Hopefully everything will be working right for him, and we can be at full strength next week. It'd be awesome heading into training camp to get all that in place. Let's see, Mr. West has a website where you can buy some artwork and stuff.
Yeah. Tell me so I can.
It's in the link below since he doesn't want to pimp it right now, so be sure to click on that and check it out. Mr. West loves his art, sells lots of pillows and shower curtains, lots of fun stuff. Mr. Smith has a band that if you're down in the Texas area, check it out.
I do. If you're in El Paso, hit me up if you want to hear some Metallica.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're in Minnesota and you want to see a big red-haired guy, I'm around. You can also see my writing on the Viking Age as well as on Dead Walking. Of course, you can always see us here at the Purple People Podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, PodOMatic. I think we have a SoundCloud that we haven't updated in a long time. But I know we got a lot of stuff where you can check out the Purple People Podcast. And believe it or not, between all the sources where you can listen to us, I'm always impressed by the number of people that are willing to sit and listen to us talk about football. So thank you, everyone that takes the time out of their day to listen, and especially to those of you who share, comment, and interact, and leave us a rating and everything. It means so much. We love how much the Facebook page has been growing, and we want that to keep on going. So please continue doing that. We really do appreciate it. On that note, I do want to thank everyone once again and remind everybody to stay classy, Minnesota.